Hi, this is Eva for Once Upon a Timeline. Welcome to Midnight Mandela. So, it looks like I'm a little spacey today, sorry. So it was actually YouTube that was giving me a little bit of problems. It just didn't want to load. Everything else was fine. I don't think the problem was on my end this time. So I was a little shocked it finally kicked in. So hopefully we're fine. I was just kind of glancing over your chit chat. So for me on the chat, it's ranch holders are blue. You can probably see it right here, but everybody else is gray, and that's how it's been. Now, I swear not too long ago, I thought that it was a white background with black writing. And then a couple weeks ago, suddenly it was a black background with white writing. So, I don't know. There you go. So, I'm trying to remember. I think I did something on the goldfish before, but they're kind of back in the news. First of all, they just look weird. They look like, why are they so round? Even my goldfish in the aquarium weren't round like that. They look like peas or something, peas in a pod. But anyway, British Columbia has a problem. Goldfish as large as a football are rapidly cloning themselves. Now, I don't remember goldfish having the cloning ability. Of course, I don't remember anything having the cloning ability originally, but this seems to be the latest thing. They're like clone like peas, I guess. No, but apparently they all right, female goldfish have a special process called gynogenesis, in which the female will get the sperm from a different kind of minnow to start the eggs developing, even though they are not fertilized. So they just need the sperm to get the cloning process started. I don't know. So they just copy themselves. That could be kind of cool. I mean, what if you had a goldfish that had awesome colors? So you just put these mysterious different kind of minnows in with her, and since she can't breed with a goldfish, then she has to clone herself with these minnows, right? That would be like so awesome. I mean, like, why don't everybody do that with their prize winning goldfish? Anyways, so I'm finding images bigger than this. It's interesting because they're saying as big as a football, but then they have a lot of images of people holding up stuff that's a lot bigger than a football. The fact that they're cloning, also British Columbia, I mean, Canada. So when I was a kid, I had goldfish, and some people had koi, and I lived in the Bay Area. And you had to be kind of careful even there, even though we didn't really get snow or anything, that your fish wouldn't freeze, your outdoor fish. And your regular goldfish aquarium fish would have a hard time, even there. Sometimes you might have to cover the pond or put a little heater in there or something in the winter, make sure it didn't get too cold. But apparently now they can hack it way over there in Canada. And I did find another article saying that we're having a goldfish breeding problem in Lake Tahoe, which is in America. It's kind of weird. Suddenly they're being reported everywhere, and they're blaming it, of course, on people dumping out their aquariums. But I mean, like, people have had goldfish for like, my whole life. I mean, so it's got to be 60, 70, I don't know how many years goldfish have been kept in aquariums. Eons, I don't know. Since aquariums started, there was probably goldfish in them. People have been dumping them this whole time. Why now, suddenly, we have this breeding population? And then they're like, oh, don't dump your aquariums. Well, if the pond is already full of goldfish, I think it's a little bit too late to worry about the aquariums now, because apparently they can clone themselves. In large numbers, goldfish can destroy aquatic habitats, blah, blah, blah. I'm not worried about that anymore. I think the nature will sort this mess out. This never happened before. Something's going on. So there's that sob story about, oh, it's all your fault. They're just weird looking, these things, too. Like, they're just too puffy or something. Let's see what else we got here. So other images, actually, I think I looked them up here. So this thing was found in France. These are a little bit larger than the football-sized ones. Are we going to open here? I thought we were going to. There we go. Now they're saying, oops, so much for that plan. Try a different one. CNN. 67-pound goldfish. Now, if I remember correctly, they were saying this was half. It is surmised to be, and I don't know how they would know, but you can kind of see here there is something a little. I don't know if you have enough ability to see this, but there's just apparently a few scales on this. So there's this thing called leather carp. Leather carp. So I looked that up. What the heck is leather carp? So leather carp apparently are a offshoot type of regular carp that are born with a shortage of scales. Like they'll just have a few scales or half scales or something like that. And they call them leather carp. So I guess what they're leathery instead of scaly. Never really heard of a fish surviving without any of its scales, but apparently now there's this mutation of lacking in scales. Actually, I should just Google it for you guys. And then it's neat because you see these weird patterns on them. Okay, so this is an example of a leather carp. I have a feeling we'll be seeing more of this. So this one has some scales, weird shapes, and then none here. And some people try to breed for these, but I guess it's a little bit difficult. That's the current story anyways. So they're saying that this giant 67-pound one over in France, I believe it was, is part leather. They're thinking it's part leather carp and part koi. But I don't think they did a DNA test or anything. So I don't, and it doesn't say why. I'm guessing maybe it's missing scales. You don't really see many, but there seems to be like a few over here. It does seem to strangely not have that many scales. Let's see this one. Let me open this one up again. Trying to see what the skin looks like on here. Yeah, I don't know. So I guess fish just crossbreed now. And then there was, okay, so we had Lake Tahoe. They said British Columbia. And then I think this is the same dude. This was what was confusing me at first. Is I'm like, he's a different fish, but it's the same dude. He catches this one. Kidderminster Man. I thought I was clicking on a story, but I guess not. No, they calling that one the carrot. No, I thought that one was the carrot. I don't know. Okay, I'm getting confused. I thought that was two different. The coloration looks quite different, and the background looked somewhat different, so I thought it was two, but maybe that is the same fish. But apparently this guy also caught a monster one over in the UK, so the UK is having the problem. And this is a different one. I think that is the guy on the thumbnail. We're going to need a bigger bowl. Got to slide that almost Mandela in there. Fisherman catches massive 30-pound goldfish. Let's see, where was this one at? Okay, this one was in France. All right, now I got it. This one was in France. Trying to see if it's going to say what it is. Good fighter. People are joking about it being fake. Reminds me of those tourist postcards with a jackalope. Or a giant fish that fills an entire canoe. I think we're already at the point where a giant fish fills the entire canoe. Go to any gift shop in a vacation getaway area in the States and you'll find similar. Okay, so this one does seem to have scales on it now that I'm getting a good look at it anyways. So maybe that's why that other one was a leather carp. I don't know. So what are we going to get, like scaleless fish now apparently? Maybe they don't need the scales anymore. And there's all kinds of these things that are being caught. Some bigger than others, but some are quite large. Kentucky using leftover biscuit. So some of these guys, they're just like, I guess, like, how are they even doing that? They're putting like a little bait on their hand and then just grabbing them or something. They're like, oh, I caught this using a kernel of corn. It's not a stolen image or an edited photo. This, the pet goldfish we fleshed when I was 9. Yeah. Looks like a breed of butterfly koi. Okay, well, whatever. I don't know. So basically, goldfish are taking over the universe. Here we go. Oh, and they're self-cloning. I was kind of reading your other stuff up here. I did cover in the past. The pelican has that weird fan-shaped nodule on the beak now. The American pelican. It's Bill Gates. Yeah, I don't want to make fun of people. Bill Gates is really old and he's not very pudgy. Considering all that. Eva, where am I? Oh, that's from a long time ago. Okay. Kiss meets the Phantom of the Goldfish Pond. Okay, if you're asking where my location is, I'm in Southern California. And when I had the goldfish, I was in what I used to call Northern California because it was in the north, is now still called Northern California, even though it's right in the middle of the state. So figure that one out if you can. Gymongous potatoes. Yeah, that's one thing that's been in my timeline for quite some time is these images of ridiculous sized vegetables and fruits. So I don't know about that one. I don't know how they managed it, but... BC had many Persians, and they leave the goldfish after Persian New Year in the rivers and ponds. Yeah, but they should have been doing that for decades. I mean, decades. And frankly, goldfish are fast growers. I mean, we should have had this problem 60, 80 years ago. At least in some locations, we should have had it. Like, for instance, there is this little park near where my ex-boyfriend lives. He lived at the time anyway. And people would dump their aquarium stuff in there all the time because it was near a school and the kids had to move or whatever. And there was all these strange fish in there. Now, some of them would get eaten or die in the winter, but in the summer there was quite a few of them. But it was a pretty deep pond, and the weather here is a lot more moderate. So the cold weather ones, like the goldfish, could handle it in there. But up north, your moderators are violet. Actually, my moderators, I would say, blue is the color I got. Dun, dun, dun. Werewolf trials took place in parts of Europe through the 15th, 16th, and 17th century. Werewolf trials. Can't they just lock them up until the full moon and then see if they turn into werewolves? I mean, how hard is it to figure out if somebody's a werewolf? Werewolf trials. Okay, this one we gotta look up. Did we get tired of witch trials? No more witch burnings. We have werewolf trials. Seriously, what do you need a trial for? Werewolf witch trials. I think they just want to make a tongue twister out of it. Werewolf witch trials were witch trials combined with werewolf trials. Really? Belief in werewolf develops parallel to the belief in European witches. Trials of supposed werewolves emerged in what is now Switzerland, especially Valais and Vaud during the Valais witch trials in the early 15th century. Spread through Europe in the 16th and peaking in the 17th and subsiding by the 18th century. Accusations of lycanthropy were mixed with accusations of wolf riding or wolf charming. I wish Dark Wolf's Den were here. He would have a good joke for this one. In 1598, case of Peter Stump led to a significant peak in both interest and persecution of supposed werewolves. All right, well, how do you have a trial? People did not only turn into wolves, but also bears. The testimony of Greta Pamau claimed that while Conti Hans and his spouse had turned into wolves, a female accomplice of them had taken the shape of a bear. 1633. The trial of Hans the werewolf is typical. He was accused of being a werewolf at the age of 18. He had confessed that he had hunted as a werewolf for 2 years. He claimed must have. Well, I want to say he must be schizophrenic, but who knows in the current era? Maybe it'll turn out to be true or something. He claimed he had gotten the body of a wolf by a man in black. When asked by the judges if his body took part in the hunt or if only his soul was transmuted, Hans confirmed that he had found a dog's teeth marks on his own leg, which he had received while a werewolf. Further asked whether he felt himself to be a man or a beast while transmitted, he said he felt himself to be a beast. The court considered it proof that he had not merely entered the body of a wolf, but also transformed into one, which meant he had undergone a magical transformation. Furthermore, as he was given this disguise by a man in black. I swear that was more of a government thing. Now it's goes way back to werewolf times, which the court thought was obviously Satan. He could be judged guilty of witchcraft and sentenced to death. In the Baltic countries, this was a common method of turning a werewolf trial into a witch trial. I don't get how it just turned into a witch trial. So he admitted it, so they killed him. Oh, great. Oh, well, I don't want to say admitted it because we don't know if it happened, but. All right, this other guy was tortured to confess that he was made a werewolf by Satan. So what, do they just torture you, though? All right, now this guy was burned alive. So witches weren't burned alive anymore. Are we now switching to werewolves being burned alive? The farmer, Jan, was accused of having been seen as a werewolf several times and accused of being a sorcerer because of it and burned alive for witchcraft. He had pointed out his neighbor Jules Verprey as an accomplice werewolf, and he was also burned. In 1657, Matthews Stoop was executed for sorcery after having been accused of tormenting the area as a werewolf and forced to confess that he had been given his wolfskin by the devil. Okay, so is that where we're having the burnings now? So it was like they used to just burn the witches and they were female, but now they burn the werewolves. Okay, yeah, I never heard of it. The werewolf trials. I'll put that in my notes. The werewolf trials. Burned at the stake. Tisk tisk. I feel like just like little kids are writing this. I still do. Hope your weeks have been good. It's a strange life. Yeah, I think I'm finally starting to get like less like I don't know, more upbeat about it. Despite everything kind of looking miserable in the news and everything, I just sort of like, I was just looking at Venus, that weird Venus Jupiter thing that happened a couple weeks ago in the sky. And Venus has been up there for like weeks now. Shortly after the sun sets, you can see it up there. It's so bright. So past the Venus would show up in that general direction, but it was in earlier in like before the sun even set, and it was in the summer. So now it's in the middle of winter, sort of winter anyway. And I don't know. Every time I look at it, I'm like, well, anything's possible then. Venus can be visible and all this crap. Werewolf trials. Remember all that stink about the witch trials, the witches not being burnt at the stake? Remember that, Mandela? That's why I'm just laughing. I was eating Pepperidge Farm dark chocolate Milanos when I saw you said you were eating PF cookies. Oh, Pepperidge Farm remembers. Werewolf in London. Seriously, yes, on cryptic and hybrids and all over this crate. Yeah, I just wonder, I'm like, are we going to find out that there's some rare disease that causes you to grow hair and like run fast through the forest or something? I mean, like, this timeline, they could make it sound realistic, like, oh, it causes your hormones to become unbalanced and you grow hair or something. Yeah, toxic birds that are poisonous. Yeah, we had a few of those on. I wouldn't be surprised if there's more. I got very strange MEs this week. The only thing I'm noticing, just little changes in town, like the where the streets are and little things like that. Oh, and this necklace. I saw this 4 or 5 days ago. So this necklace has, I think you can see it. Let me just go over here so you can see it. So a friend of mine made this. And she was actually, she makes and sells jewelry, so she was selling it, and I got it at a real good deal, and I just liked it, and so it's silver and then it's glass, and this part here is just glass, but she carved it, and there was a pattern carved on it, and the pattern was kind of like this, and then those pieces would, each corner would connect to another one that went like that, so they were sort of like swoopy octagons or something, instead of being so it changed to be all straight lines now, and it's a little bit creepy because it's now triangles like overlapping. There's like 6 triangles, 3 go one way and then 3 go the other, but the end result is that from the back it looks like it's actually cracked up because it just looks like cracks, and so I took it off for something, and I'm like, oh, I've cracked my necklace, and now I'm like, no, it's got a different pattern on it, so that's rather recent. I don't think that pattern's been on there because now it looks like it's cracked, except for it's not once you really look at it. So that was one. I think there was, it's almost getting to where like I don't write them down anymore. It's like, oh, that changed. Oh, that changed. Oh, I wonder if that changed. I'm not sure. The Parmesan Goldfish. I guess if you did cook it up and put Parmesan on it, it might be tasty. I don't normally wish, but when I do, it's for Pepperidge Farm cookies. I don't know. It's like a combination of different commercials put together. A newly discovered toxic bird like the frogs that get you high. Really? Is it a bird that gets you high? Seriously, we've got like a psychedelic bird now? Are you kidding me? Let's see. This is funny. Ah, I want to know about this one. All right, I'll just try toxic first and see if it comes up. They taste spicy. I think it's this one. All right, let's try Miami Herald. I don't think they'll be sign in on that one. 2 new species of poisonous birds found in jungle. They taste spicy. That's such a tiny little thing. Who would even eat that? There's like a half a bite of food on it. Papua New Guinea, of course. The island that never stops growing fatter. These bird species carry a secret. More accurate, the birds carried a poison, a toxic emanating from their feathers and seeping from their skin. People living on New Guinea Island have known about the unpalatable taste of the yellow-feathered bird species for centuries, researchers said in a study. The locals are fond of spicy food and steer clear of these birds. Aren't fond of spicy food. Their meat burns in the mouth like chili. Chili birds. I don't know why that's funny. I think there was recently a lawsuit over a Chipotle chicken bowl. Like one company said the other company stole the name. So I'm just thinking now you can have this Chipotle flavored bird here. The island of New Guinea is north of Australia, and the reason I know that is because of the Mandela. Okay, yum, yum, yum. Must not be too poisonous. They're grabbing it without gloves. That carries batrachotoxin as the iconic poison dart frogs of Central and South America. Batrachotoxin causes muscle cramps, cardiac arrest, and death. Good times. Or it just stings the mouth, apparently. The animals absorb the toxin from their environment, namely that they eat likely a type of toxic beetle found on the island. So what, you could just eat poison and then just ooze it out your pores now? Had lower levels of batrachotoxin than frogs. The toxin can be felt when holding onto one of the birds. It feels kind of unpleasant, and hanging onto one for long isn't an appealing option as they're sitting there hanging onto one. Could serve as a deterrent. Okay, so this is interesting because this batrachotoxin is spreading. Is there anything special about batrachotoxin? Does it get you like high? Does it like cure cancer? Can you talk to aliens using it? What's the deal with this stuff? Neurotoxic steroidal alkaloid. Found in beetles, birds, and frogs. Structurally related compounds are collectively called batrachotoxin. Neurotoxicity, cardiotoxicity, use. Okay, used in blowguns for killing stuff. Okay, so I don't see anything good about it. Not yet, anyway. Okay, so it doesn't get you high, though. Not yet, anyways. So this one doesn't make its own toxin, but I'm pretty sure I do recall there was at least one other bird that was more toxic than this. This one just burns your mouth, apparently. I did cover blue honey. I've covered the honey that gets you high. That's a different honey. Yeah, that one has been on. The honey that makes you high. Yeah, high. The honey that makes you high is high on the cliffs. I didn't even realize how hilarious that is. Blue shark. It's really blue. Let's check it out. I think that's been on, but it wasn't all that blue. Ooh, look at the length of that fin. Okay. Blue sharks feed on small fishes and invertebrates. All right, I don't know. This is not showing how blue they are. See, that looks like one, but it's not blue blue. It may be blue eventually, but it doesn't look like it's blue. Well, that one has a little blue. I don't... Prionace. Prionace glauca. Kind of running a little slow today. All right, let's see. Find. They're distinct blue color that fades to a crisp white underside. Okay, so they are blue according to this thing. I don't think they were blue to start with, but I do kind of wonder if anything that's called blue is going to turn blue. I mean, are we going to get blue cats because we have Russian blue cats? So I think I've seen these, but they were just gray. They were blue, like Russian blues are. I think I've done the sharks that can walk on land. Yeah, epaulette sharks have been on. They live in shallow waters amid coral reefs. Yeah, those guys have been on. I wonder if they are more adapted to moving around on land maybe than last time I looked, but they have been on. Shari's been a little busy here. Shari's got... Okay. All right, we've already got that one. Oh, not only... They assert that walking on land might be a survival strategy prompted not only by the shark's naturally severe habitat conditions, but also by climate change. It's your fault. So, like, there's more water, and so therefore the sharks don't like it. What is the problem? The only creatures that should be happy about climate change in more water would be the ocean fishies, but no. Since when does I'm just gonna learn how to walk on land to solve this problem, you know? Everything is your fault. You and your stinky carbon. Matt at Quantum says everything is going magenta. The other color I see a lot is that weird, like, glowing green. Like, they used to use that all the time for, like, the radioactive contamination or the nuclear contamination was always. green. I've seen a lot of that green and magenta. I don't know. The ocean is all blue. Of course he looks blue, but my brain is seeing that as gray. So I don't know. I need to see one flopped out of the water onto the land and then be blue. And then I can. Everything is due to climate change. That's right. If you don't, they're trying to make you feel guilty for breathing. It all started when Al Gore invented the internet. It's tempting to blame it on politics and stuff, but I'm really starting to think that basically there's energies going on. There's energetic changes, and it all translates into the physical. So the wars, the arguing, you've got the two sides. Things are getting more extreme and emotional. And I think a lot of it might be just excuses for the change, like shifting more towards a solitary and less social. And the pandemic was part of that shift. And now we can say, oh, well, it started during the pandemic. We have a physical thing we can blame on it. But I suspect it's more of a manifestation of stuff. And I also think that some things will either start for bad reasons and turn out good, or start for supposed good reasons and turn out bad. Some of the things that, seem totally ridiculous might actually have a reason on another level that we don't really understand. All right, she's found one out of the water. It just looks ocean colored, huh? Doesn't it? It's interesting, if they are so blue, how come we can't really see a bluey blue one? Is it just me? It still kind of just looks gray to me. It looks a little blue. Let's see. Not working at all. Let me just do a quick Google and see what we get. Oh, God. All right, I put in the species name. So, come on. Oh, they're all in the water. All right, here's one out of the water. Yeah, it's somewhat blue. It looks pretty blue in that one. He's blue like the blue waters, basically. So I'm pretty sure those were gray when I first saw them, but there's so many sharks now. You can't even keep track of all. I was for Al Gore when he was running for president. My, how all things have changed. So you guys know I don't trust either side. So it may be that both sides have to suck so bad that the whole thing collapses. I'm hoping, because everything is such a mess now. But if it collapsed and we kind of learned and things got better, that would be a nice timeline. Like, okay, people need to think for themselves and not just blindly follow a leader. And then the leader says stupid things and they go, We all have to stop doing that. We have to follow our own ethics and not just blindly pick sides. And what I see is the side picking is so extreme right now. And so I'm hoping that means that people will see how ridiculous it is. I mean, how far do you have to follow a leader, and how much ridiculous stuff does that guy have to do before you finally realize that you got to think for yourself and not follow? It's getting more and more obvious now. Yeah, both sides. And they're showing you the corruption every day. Both sides are just so ridiculous. They take turns a little bit, but... All right, let's see. All right, so all this rain, apparently California got a new lake that we sort of always had, and it's the third biggest lake in the United States, which I've never heard of but it's already been here several times. I'm like, what? What? So the story now, and there's been so many changes in California. Like I said, I originally was from Northern California, but that area is now in the central region. And so I don't think any of this stuff was in my old timeline because the geography looks quite different in a lot of areas. There was a time some years ago, quite a ways back, where a bunch of people in LA were saying, what in the heck, because they could suddenly see the Sierras from their area in LA, and they didn't used to be able to do that. All right, so now there's this thing called Tulare Lake, and it's in Tulare County. So they're saying this was a lake as recently as 1997. Well, that heavy rains in 97 refilled it, and it was there for like a year, and then it went away again. It looks like they don't really put a lot of housing or anything on here. It's more like farm country and stuff. So they're saying this was a lake before, and we took out all the water. Now, as a Californian, I'm pretty familiar with all of the guilt tripping that has ever been done about ruining a lake and making it disappear. And I have never heard of us sucking dry the third largest lake in the United States. I just cannot believe that level, that would be such a wonderful thing to guilt trip on, and yet I've never heard of it. But now, yes, now historically we drained it dry, except for it came back in 97, and then it was gone again. So here is this lake, Tulare. It's pretty large. And then they're also saying because us greedy suckers sucked all the water, well, not all of it, but sucked so much groundwater that it dropped, like that area dropped 17 feet. I mean, that's like, how do you drop 17 feet and there's no cracks or nothing? And so now the lake is deeper than ever by like 17 more feet because of all so I don't get it. Okay. You suck water out of the ground and then the ground sinks. But then if water rains hard, the ground doesn't come back up. So does the ground only sink? It never like returns. We'll just like keep, if we suck out enough water, will we end up at the center of the earth or what? I don't know. It just, the whole storyline, the more I think about them in light of all that we've seen, I'm like, a lot of it just sounds ridiculous. And you take it on the word of scientists that this is the case. But how the hell do they know? Okay, so now we have this whole lake, and they're saying it'll be here for years because of all this rain. I have a sneaking suspicion that this lake will never leave because I don't think it was here before. I don't think it was here in 97. Not for me. And they're like, oh, no, the cropland, I think will be fine. So, yeah, we have a new lake. And we're seeing this all over, like lakes are forming all over, and it's forming kind of a little bit left of center, a little west of center in California in like a line. So you can see here, there's the lake, and now they're saying all these rivers feed there, all these rivers fed here, but somehow we never had a lake most of the time for the last decades. It seems ridiculous. So I think this is here to stay. And the storyline will keep shifting. The corner of Tulare Lake in 1875, when it was about 75 miles long. And people sailed, fished, and hunted over its waters. At that time, the settlers would have scoffed at the idea of its ever disappearing. I mean, there's no way that they missed out on this guilt tripping all the way until this year. There's no way. But yet, here's all these old stories. It was last filled in the wet winter of 1983. But that's interesting because other articles said 97 it was also full. The lake is back and may threaten the global food supply. So the environmentalists got their lake back, and now they're whining about that. Nothing ever makes them happy because you have to feel guilty for existing. This rain is your fault, And if all the water dries up, it's your fault. But if we get all the water back, that's also your fault. Just so you know. Even longtime residents have been staggered by the brute swiftness with which Tulare Lake has resurfaced. In less than 3 weeks, 30 square miles has been transformed into a vast and rising sea. And now they're saying we've got a 15-foot snowpack that will keep feeding it too. So they're saying it'll be here for years. I would really be shocked if this thing ever goes away, because they'll just be more stories, and 5 years from now or 3 years from now they'll say it was always there, but now it's just bigger, and something like that. That's kind of the pattern we see. The wider and deeper Tulare Lake gets, the greater the risk of that entire harvest will be lost. Homes will be submerged and businesses will go under. Oh, so they did have some homes out there on the edge, I guess. So that area was used for cotton, tomatoes, safflower, pistachios, milk. At least according to this. The region is so crucial to the world supply that sustained substantial flooding could lead to higher prices. Well, everything leads to higher prices. The current era, so I'm not really surprised. So yeah, anyway, we got to do third biggest lake in the United States. Third biggest freshwater lake. I don't know if Salton Sea counts. It might be too salty to count. What is Tulare Lake and why is it flooding? I don't think that would be called Tulare Lake anymore if it was like gone. Trying to get it. The Phantom Lake in California is back. So yeah, nice little lake. Yes, that was where I was already at. All right, we're done. Wozniacki on the Colbert Show said that Al Gore actually was part of the team that was working on the internet. Really? That's hilarious. That is hilarious. You know, I see these stories go back and forth. First they're ridiculous and then they come true. So like when what's that woman's name that ran for vice president and everybody made fun of her, that the one in Alaska, the governor of Alaska, Palin. Yes, Sarah Palin. When she said she could see Russia from here, that made her like her argument for being skilled in foreign policy was she could see Russia from here, and everybody made fun of her. And now it's true, you actually can see Russia from there. So like these stories are so weird because like haha, she's an idiot. Now she's not, at least not in that way, an idiot. So it's just been really weird, and I've noticed this in a lot of the national stories. First, all the evidence stacks up to show this person is guilty as anything. And then 2 years later, a whole bunch of new evidence comes over, and now this person looks totally innocent. And then it swings back and forth. It's like, would not get on either one of these trains because they are going down like, you don't know where it's going to go. And I think if you jump too hard on any of them, sooner or later you look like an idiot. So just sit back and watch the show. All right, let's see. Did Al Gore work on the internet? That would be funny if he did. Whoops. Swiss cows. Swiss cows thinks it's porn. Dear user, search results for did Al Gore work on the internet may contain violence and pornography. So the search engine for this query is disabled. I think they need to work on their AI. I'm trying to figure out, is it because it's the word gore? Is the word gore what scared him? But Gore did help invent the internet. Okay, let's see what Ohio State has to say, because I have never heard any defense of him actually working on the internet, but somehow it would be funny if that came up. Gore told CNN's Wolf Blitzer, during my service in the U.S. Congress, I took the initiative in creating the internet. I took the initiative in creating the internet. That's not how I remember it being said, though. I don't remember him saying, I took the initiative in creating the internet. I remember him saying, I created the internet. This quickly was mutated into I created the internet. Yeah, no, I swear I remember him saying that and became so apparently in this timeline he didn't say he created the internet. Uh, and became part of the presidential campaign. The truth is more complex. Gore was a leader in introducing computers into the Congress itself. When he was a senator, Gore sponsored several bills making the federal government a catalyst for the information superhighway. While only in the 1991 High Performance Computer Act became law, his constant prodding gave the concept high visibility within the government. Gore was responsible for mandating the 1987 Reagan White House policy study of government computer networks. Okay, so the new timeline, he took the initiative in helping create it, is true. Very interesting. See, this is just another example of it. I swear, I'm pretty sure that he did say I created it in some timeline. Freaking Google is not showing any results for any search. Yeah, that was actually Swiss cows, and they don't do porn. So I think it must be the word gore that freaked out Swiss cows. But that's really the silliest block I've ever had. So Bing is like, Bing uses Google search engines, but with a little bit less censorship. So Bing is not really that different than Google. So when I want images, I do use Google. Google's great for images. And if I get blocked on Swiss cows, I'll use Google. But if I can't find stuff on Google, and I agree it sucks, but really there's not a lot of solutions, I will try on Yandex. And sometimes I can find stuff on Yandex. Because that's the Russian search engine, so they have different censorship than the Google one. I think Yandex is a little better on a lot of things, but it doesn't return as many American results. So I could kick myself when I remember who I believed and followed before 2016. So I don't know. That's a tough one because the reality was completely different then. I mean, we've been shown that stuff we thought was a good idea led to kind of a total disaster that we're at now. But we didn't really have any way of knowing that it would go there to where it has with all of the authoritarianism. I mean, if you look at the old Democrat ways, it was anti-authoritarian. So they're not even following what it used to be to be a Democrat. The Democrats of those days would have been completely horrified with what's being done right now. It's not being a Democrat anymore. And that's why a lot of the old school Democrats like Jimmy Dore and Russell Brand, they have jumped off the ship and now they're complaining too because that is not their that's not what it used to be. And you see the Republicans are now, it's weird because a lot of the Republicans people, like regular people, are turning very anti-authoritarian now. But their leaders are, a lot of them, not every one of them, but a lot of them are still pushing this crap. And you know, the Dems used to be anti-war. Now they're a bunch of war hawks. And I mean, I don't know if you saw this, the Restrict Act. This thing, they say they just want to block TikTok, but that act is completely Orwellian. It basically says that the government can control any internet information. It has complete access to all internet information. It doesn't require any permission to take that information. It is exempt from the Freedom of Information Act, so you can never find out anything it's doing. It doesn't have to go to any judges. It doesn't have to justify anything. And then if you try to bypass its orders, like by getting a VPN, it's like this ridiculous high, like years in prison, $1 million fine. I mean, it's like worse than effing China. So yeah, that is next level evil, and anybody who votes for that, don't ever trust that guy. I mean, you think the Patriot Act was bad? Patriot Act was like kindergarten compared to this Restrict Act. Basically, this is how they'll, if they get this Restrict Act in, then no more freedom on Twitter, no more freedom anywhere. I'm sure they'll do it bit by bit, but we kind of saw how fast YouTube moved. They just said, "Oh, we're just going to do a little bit," and then within about a year and a half, it was like 1984 in there. So, yeah, see, I feel like that too. That we need to stop being war hawks. Need to stop churning up these wars. They Russia and Ukraine had a peace deal in the works, and we torpedoed it because how are we going to launder a bunch of money through Ukraine if there's no war going on? How are the military industrial complex going to get a bunch of money for weapons? So like, okay, TikTok probably does monitor a bunch of your stuff. It's the exact same thing that Facebook and all the other ones do. Like, it's like, oh, yeah, we want to monitor all your stuff, but we don't want China to be doing it. Oh. So, and the thing is, it doesn't say banning of TikTok. It says if they wanted to ban TikTok, they could just say, okay, TikTok's banned. But no, they have complete power over everything. TikTok is only mentioned, I think, one place in the entire bill. Uh, this bill gives complete power over it. It has very little to do with TikTok. All right, where are we at? Uh, all right, so we got Tulare Lake. Oh, it said that it sank 27 feet from sucking groundwater. I don't get it. I literally have never seen any place sink any. We're supposedly slurping all the groundwater out of the area and all this sinkage. I do not see a single area that looks any different. Like if the whole place sinks exactly 27 feet, I guess you won't notice. But shouldn't you see the water is now 27 feet? Like I don't know. The whole thing just sounds weird to me. I mean, I just feel like if that really happened, there should be some kind of evidence you'd see it. Let's see. Oh. Okay, so we have the monster goldfish threatening Canada, and then I ran into Canadian super pigs are going to invade the U.S. So we're sending them the monster goldfish, but they don't want to. They don't want to lose, so they're sending us the super pigs. Thanks, Canada. Super pigs. What does that say about the two of us? Canada and the United States. Whoops, can't read. Experts warn. Good old experts. Al Gore did create the internet a little bit. And super pigs threaten to invade the United States. an invasive species of crossbred super pigs from Canada. Since when did they even have wild pigs all over Canada? It's like a hairless monster just stomping around in the snow up there. Become an issue for the United States. Experts are sounding the alarm. Wild pigs have plagued southern states in the U.S. for decades now, killing native species while being a walking petri dish of diseases that can spread to humans. Now they're a walking petri dish, those bastards. Those pigs reportedly stick to warmer climates like Florida and Texas. Now according to experts, a breed of crossbred super pigs are reported crossbreed of domesticated and wild swine. What swine lived in the cold regions to start with that they crossbred? Which side is even the cold hardy side? It's strange. Okay. Larger, hairier, smarter, and boast quick and fruitful reproductive qualities alongside a lack of natural predators. Are you kidding me? Everything likes to eat pig. Oh, look, they are quite fuzzy. All right. No, maybe these are just any old picture they could scramble up, I think, here. Initially thought once they released their domesticated populations into the wild that the super pigs would have difficult time surviving a Canadian winter. One of the things they do to survive is to tunnel under the snow. Why did they release super pigs? Why did Canadian farmers initially release super pigs to start with? The released populations quickly spread to become a national problem. Have you ever heard of pigs as a national problem in Canada? The pig problem in Canada is now too big to completely get rid of anymore. Like, once one pregnant sow releases, it's too big to get rid of. Let's face it. Have they ever gotten rid of a problem that had already spread a bunch of offspring all over the place? They have never once done that. Well, I guess if the super pigs can survive in the north and the regular pigs can survive in the south, then it's pretty much pigs everywhere. Like, bacon is on the menu. Stop whatever you're doing and start removing pigs, and don't stop until every single one is gone. I would echo that advice. You ain't getting rid of them. This is crazy talk. Let's see. We never found a wild pig in Canada anywhere in all of our research in 2002. Now we have thousands of them spread across Canada. We'll have them for 5. So there they are. I think that's them. Wild pigs, May 2002. I don't know. They are very fuzzy. They're starting to look like dogs. It is believed they are making their way into America. Woohoo! Well, they're already over, like, my area, sort of, so. The average adult feral swine can weigh up to 250 pounds, with some getting twice as large as the average. The pigs can also run 30 miles per hour. They breed year-round and have litters of 4 to 12 piglets per year. They become sexually mature at 6 to 8 months of age. Feral swine population can double in size in 4 months. Yeah, you're goners. You got the pigs. Yeah. Ground removal teams, fencing, and education are all key. Yeah, they never got rid of anything. They're not getting rid of it. Okay, so yeah, we got Canadian super pigs. They get the monster goldfish. Seems like a fair trade, don't you think? All right, and then Hobo Days, a commenter on the channel, thank you very much, has been so kind as to tell us about tree lobsters. Now, when I heard this, I had my hopes up that they were going to be tasty, but unfortunately, wah, wah, wah. No such luck at all. At least not yet. Maybe down the line, if the WEF has anything to do with it, you will be eating tree lobsters, but you may not like it. So, tree lobsters are these. The tree lobster, thought extinct for 80 years, is alive and well. Oh, yummy. Now, are they going to start to look more like a lobster? Because that doesn't look that much like a lobster to me. I mean, are they going to be like, end up being tasty and full of lobster buttery goodness? So the story now is that because of those stinky old humans that allowed rats to get on the island where tree lobsters lived, then all the tree lobsters were killed, and then recently they found some more. So by magic, the tree lobsters are back. Same old story. So we have tree lobsters. They're back. I was really hoping they would be the tasty kind, though. So these are a species of stick insect. So they're like big and oogie. There you go. Apparently there's a lot of colors for them. Oh, the timeline does love its giant icky insects. It's kind of like we're going back to the like Jurassic period where everything was huge, flying, and icky. We're going to get the pterodactyls back at this rate. We got mini flying dragons. They just don't spit the fire yet. Okay. See what you guys are up to. Oh, yeah, you're putting in the Hindenburg thing. Okay, so Julesy actually posted that Hindenburg stuff in a comment, and I was getting to it. When I first moved to northern Arizona, I went to my old lady's house for the first time. It was snowing, and I said, honey, someone's pigs are loose outside on the road. Okay, I kind of missed the point there. Al Gore helped establish the internet, not create. Okay, well, yeah, but he said he helped initiate the creation. So that is acceptable terminology, I would say. I certainly wouldn't nitpick that one verb out of like a giant 10-minute speech or something. Cats would never watch TV in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. I definitely do feel like so many animals are more intelligent. I mean, even used to be that it was a big deal when they discovered that chimpanzees would use a tool, and it was they would take a stick and they would stick it into the ant hive, and ants would come out and they would use it, and it was like the holy grail of discoveries that they used a tool. Okay, and they even stripped off the leaves and made sure the stick was the right size and broke it off and all that. Okay, now like everything and its uncle uses tools. I mean, insects use tools, birds, every kind of mammal on the planet, fish, lobster, like there's crabs that use tools. Everything uses tools now. So everything, and all these wild animals asking humans for help and stuff. Yeah, none of that stuff ever happened before. Content of TikTok is totally different in China. So China made a rule about what content its children were allowed to view. And so TikTok has to abide by that rule. Even though technically TikTok is owned by ByteDance, which is supposedly not the CCP. Who the heck knows? But the point is that any social media that operates in China has to abide by those rules. So it's not special to TikTok. And if we made those rules here, then I'm pretty sure TikTok would abide by those rules here as well. But instead, we just let our kids watch all kinds of crap, and I think it's rotting brains. But we're going to let them keep rotting their brains as long as they rot their brains with Facebook and YouTube and not TikTok, apparently. I don't know. All right, so yeah, this is what I was getting to, was this Hindenburg one. That was next on my list from Julesy. All right. First of all, I don't want to watch the whole thing. So, the Hindenburg. This one has been the subject of many a Mandela discussion because first, people did not remember there being like a tower. It used to be that the Hindenburg would just come and sink down to the ground, and then they would rope it, and then like some kind of a ladder thing would come out, and people would come off. And then I started to see like this tower in the view, and that was never there. So I was like, what? And then at least for a while, they would dock it on that tower that had shown up. The other thing is a lot of people remember everybody dying on the Hindenburg, and then it got to where only like a percentage did. Now, I can't remember how many died last time, but right now, last I checked a few days ago, they said 36 of 97 died. So there's 97 on there, 36 died. And we remember, like, some of us remember all of them died. What also is new to me, I have never heard of, there was one additional person on the ground that died. And I've never heard of that. But if you look at this footage, it was kind of a slow thing for me. Like, slow, kind of at least slower than this. The fire spread, and oh, the horrors, and the guy commentator, and it was kind of this. But now, it looks like it went down like really fast. Let me see if this is the same footage I was looking at. All right, I'm going to turn off the sound. We don't need that. All right, this is not the angle I was looking at earlier. So there's also an additional story. This new footage is supposedly taken by a person in the audience. I don't remember there being handheld cameras back then, but now there were handheld cameras, or video cameras. And this guy is claiming that it was a crank handheld video camera. So you would crank it. Instead of having batteries, you crank it or something, and then it would play for a while. Like, it would tape for a while. And then you'd have to crank it again. So he would get some video, and then it would, like, wind down, and then he would re-crank it. So that's the story on the new video. I don't think this is the new video. Let's see. Okay, so, I don't know. It just looks so different to me. All this black smoke. I don't remember the black smoke. Okay, and it has a Nazi symbol on it now, the Hindenburg, and it didn't originally. There was no freaking Nazi symbol on it. Okay. Oh, this is interesting. That's not the tower it was before. The heck, the tower before looked more like, it looked like gridwork style. Now it just looks like a water tower? What the heck? Wait a minute. Wait 1 minute. So, oh, now that's weird. This keeps changing. This is not the tower that was there before. There is no effing way. So maybe it's gone back to ground landing, it looks like. So this is weird. This is weird. Okay, so I don't think it's docking on the tower. We've gone through that timeline. This is bizarre. I've never seen any of it. There was really only one footage before. The footage that was covered by the media, and that was it. I have never seen this before. This is totally weird. I'm trying to get to the part. They're just jumping. Okay, so this is just... Whoa. I've never seen that video before. Whoa, it's so close up. Dang, this is totally insane. Okay. The reason I don't want to play the whole thing is I'll probably get a giant copyright. So, as much as I'm tempted to. The old video was much further away. That is a little closer. All right, here. This is the video I was looking at. This is it. This, I think, is the new video. Not here. Nope, that's not it either. I don't think that's it. It goes down so fast now, though. I just don't remember it. That's probably why somebody got killed on the ground, because it goes down really fast. Like, really fast. And I don't think this is speeded up by the way they're moving and stuff. And how did anybody survive that? Like, how did 2/3 of them survive that? It went down it went down fast. I can't even think of a good example. I've actually never seen any of this video before. None of this video looks like the video I remember. Okay, let me see if I can find that one I was looking at. That one is... footage. Here. Okay, so this is the footage from the hand crank man. To go to 557. The rest of it's all yakking. Here we go. So again, it goes down so fast. That's like twice or 3 times faster than I remember. Because he had, I don't know, he just had a lot more time to talk on that one. It's weird, these guys are just kind of standing there. They're not really moving it. I mean, one of their friends probably apparently just got mashed like a pancake. I wonder if we can see who got killed, because supposedly one ground crew got killed. Well, I don't think you're going to see it over there. All right, we'll try this way. Unless there's somebody right there I can't really see in the... It really looks like there was only 3 and they ran back. So, I don't know. Kind of a weird story. So, yeah, I don't know. Is that what you guys remember? I'm like Bender from Futurama. I was a well-functioning alcoholic stoner Native American engine. I don't know how to touch that one, man. A lot of crayfish in the suburban cement streams in the 70s. Then they disappeared. So crayfish, I still see those. Like in the LA, there's this natural spring actually that comes up at a school park area that I used to go to. They had crayfish there. 2,400-year-old flesh pellet discovered in China. Yes. Score. So much for the Romans having invented indoor plumbing. That was the old story. Leave it to them. They're just going to keep pushing this stuff back forever. Like every year, there's like, oh, it's earlier than we thought. We're going to find out there were 10 different species of civilization before us. Ah, man, suddenly I see all these comments I wasn't seeing before. Narcissism is the opiate of the masses. I think China found the underbelly of the USA. If TikTok wasn't here, then a new one would jump up, or they would jump on YouTube and Reddit and everybody else. We're a little overdue for a new one. TikTok kind of hogged the spotlight. But every generation's got a new social media, so another one will come together. Somebody will make a TikTok copy. I don't think they're going to ban it, though. This is not about banning TikTok. This is about getting control of the internet. Some stores are no cash, and some restaurants use handprints to charge you. That is scary, actually. And I'm not shopping there. I have not seen any of that here. I think there'd be too much complaining. VPN used to be something people in China and Iran had to use. Now European countries are worse. They're working on it. They're working on it. And also the punishment was like $1 million if you use VPN. I mean, China doesn't even punish you that. Of course, maybe they won't give you the full punishment unless there's somebody you hate. They hate, especially like some politician person or something. Still, $1 million. I mean, China does not come back after you with that level of attack if you had a VPN. I saw this week a vending machine with face recognition. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to have to move to the boonies at this rate. Canadian bacon. Good point. Gotta love that Canadian bacon. The other thing I've never saw before until recent years was like horses playing with balls, like bouncy balls, and cows playing with bouncy balls, like this playful behavior that is more like something you just. They used to say predators were the only ones that did that because it was the theory was that it was training them to hunt, like to pounce on things and like that, and so they thought, oh, that's why predators do it. But now you see like everything doing it. No penguins yet. Do Canadians have penguins? They may have penguins because they were up north only, and Canada is up north, so they probably have some penguins. I mean, if they have penguins in like the desert and the tropics, Canada's got to have some. With multiple lakes in California, it will probably lead to the lakes expanding and turning California into an island. I have definitely talked about that and wondered about that. When the old joke that California was going to break off and fall into the ocean. Maybe it will be like Mandela style, that there'll be just like a big channel. Because, I mean, Salton Sea's getting bigger. Now we've got this Tulare Lake thing. And the rivers along the area seem to be expanding. I think the crawdads might be getting bigger too. I saw some like giant crawdads the other day. Let me see. So maybe they're going to get like lobsters now. So like Dave really likes to eat those, but when I tried eating them, it was like it was all legs and like no meat or something. And that was quite some time ago. So maybe they're better now. But I was just like, where's the part you eat? All I see is a bunch of legs. All right, now I'm not seeing them. Is that a crawdad there? Oh, that was crayfish. Okay, I give up. Yeah, maybe they'll use the psychedelics. You will be eating dog food and crickets, but you can, in your mind, it'll be steak. Because they'll just brainwash you into it. I think I don't know if it's because I'm getting older or what, but I do feel like I'm getting more picky about what I eat. Like certain things just don't taste good anymore, but when I eat all fresh food, it tastes pretty good. But a lot of the processed food just doesn't taste that good anymore. I believe animals understand us. Yeah, I do think so. I think they might have a little bit of like a psychic instinct, a little bit too. Like they kind of pick up on the general gist of things. Today I told the stray cat not to eat the finches and to go for the lizard. So this cat jumps out of a tree to the ground and gets a lizard. Well, be nice to that cat. There are many old maps showing California as an island. Yes, and there wasn't before though. It's a new old images. And Tartaria, that comes up a lot in Tartaria. So one of the theories is that there was some kind of massive flood or something that filled in the land in between the island and the mainland, and then just made like the whole land bigger. And that's kind of along the areas that are low lying now in the current map, and where we're seeing Tulare Lake and Salton Sea and stuff. So it's interesting that it showed up in the old map and now we're heading that way. It's been weird. Like Pangea, I did not have Pangea in the 70s. They didn't teach it, and then it was put forth as a theory in maybe the 80s, 90s. I would say more like 90s for me. And now it really looks like we're moving towards Pangea, even though it showed up in the old maps. Stores with no human clerks, all robot. I think we'll definitely get that. That we'll move to. We've got a problem with people not having enough. We don't have enough labor, so if you automate it, AI is moving fast. The AI could probably do a lot of this stuff soon. So if you combine with social credit score, then maybe you won't be let into stores unless you have a good social credit score. So then they wouldn't have to worry about theft as much, because they wouldn't if you get caught for theft, you might be banned from those stores. I mean, there's a lot of things they could do. If I really thought that they would just like not try to force medical treatments on you and all kinds of nasty, scungy stuff, it could be a good thing, because it could really, people would be motivated to behave and not steal and those things. But the problem is that we've seen is what they might use it for once the government has control. So there's the problem. Maybe we can get to a timeline where people wake up and we can implement some of this stuff, but not the excessive authoritarianism that could come with it. Then there could be a pretty good life for that. Maybe put it into the cities, but if you don't like it, you just go rural. As long as you don't wall off the cities and there's still freedom. Mongolia appeared to my dismay out of nowhere in 2016. Yes, they were part of China. China, in my old timeline, China had control of them, kind of much as they do now with Tibet. And the big stink was the Chinese were persecuting the Mongolians. That was the huge stink. But now they're persecuting the Uyghurs. I think I said that right. I never even heard of Uyghurs before. But so now all the stuff that was like the Mongolians is now the Uyghurs. So it's just weird. I don't even know what to say about that stuff. They're going to go in and they're trying to change their history and eradicate their culture and blah, 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 blah. And that was all Mongolia. But not anymore. let's see. Newly analyzed. Yes, got that one. All right, got that one. All right, so those are all the main ones. I'll do these ones. All right, making sure that I got everybody. All right, these are kind of older ones. So these ones might, I don't know if everybody's going to be able to remember these ones. So that's why I kind of held off on these. I'm pretty sure I saved this one. Yes, this is it. So this one is something I saw in retconned 13 days ago. Which of these is the flag of Denmark? Is it number 1 or number 2? That's the question for today. And then beyond that one, so this one is from user Alper8, Alperr8 on retcon, and I just ran into this on retcon. And then this other one was from Taro. That's how I say the name, Taro. I don't know how it really said. In Japan, Taro in Japan also often comes up with some. Sometimes they're ones we've already covered, but it is very interesting to see that somebody in Japan sees a lot of the same Mandelas. So this is for Star Trek fans. Can't type today. So if you remember when Picard got captured by the Borg and they changed him into Locutus of Borg. They changed him into kind of like a Borg controller creature. Does this look right to you? Is this how he looked? All right, there's part of it. All right, there was that. Actually, I'm just realizing there's something else too. And then I think this is him with more stuff on. All right, so that's when he was Locutus of Borg. So those of you that don't watch the show, he got changed into kind of a partial cyborg, and he was kind of mind controlled. But of course, they rescued him, and they got him back in his normal brain functioning later. Is this how you remember the paraphernalia looking when he turned into Locutus of Borg? Because there's a couple things. It's funny because I didn't catch it right away, but then when I saw this one, I suddenly realized that there's one thing that I saw was this part here. I just don't remember it being so curvy like that. But then now I'm suddenly looking at it and I realize there's another much different thing that I missed. So I think this one shows just this bottom part, and then this one shows an additional piece up here. Oh, and here's a nice side view. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't see that one last time. This side view. Okay. Man, that looks really different on this side view that I remember. Really different. So, that's our two questions is, which one of these is the flag of Denmark? That one's kind of a tough one, because I don't know how many people really know the flag of Denmark, but... And then, do you remember this style for Locutus of Borg? Or do you notice some things that look different? I actually am kind of shocked that I didn't catch this other one I was so busy looking at this. Like there was another one that almost smacked me in the head. I'm just realizing it now. At least we got Mongolian throat singing rock band. Yeah. You know, when I first heard of that throat singing, when that first showed in reality, they said it's only you had to study your entire life as a monk. Like this one rare group of monks could do this, and that was the only one that could do Mongolian throat singing. But apparently now it's spread. So for some reason, we aren't getting the full downloads. That could be it. I do suspect, though, that we may not be getting them because we don't want to. Like, it really does seem that people who want to fit in with the crowd and not be the nail that sticks out to get smacked with a hammer, that just want to be normal according to everybody else and not look stupid, and they want the download. Like they're if something's weird and creepy and doesn't fit, they hate it and they want it to go away, and the download makes it go away. But I think some of us just want to know what the truth is, or we have a tolerance of the weird. Maybe we even like the weird. I think it's a little bit of both for me. I like the weird. I'm interested in the weird, but not enough that I want to like believe something if it's not true. So like sometimes like that sounds really interesting, but I don't think so. Sorry. I wish it was true, but no, I don't think that the data backs that. However, I'm not, even though I was scared of the Mandela, I was also super fascinated in it. And I do care about what is really happening. And I don't want my brain to be modified memory banks, even if it's scary and creepy what I get to find out. The red pill, basically. The red pill is not that easy a path. So I do think maybe it is that people pick on a subconscious level repeatedly. They pick the blue pill and they get the download. Like I see it in people because you're like, well, you remember it like this, but actually it never happened. And then they're like, you could see this look like, no, no, there's got to be an explanation. No, no. And then they get the download. And then they're like, oh, I remember now. And they're so relieved. Japan shape was less curvy, less crumbly. Yeah, less islands for sure. Out in the ocean, it wasn't as long. It didn't look like a dragon. Yeah, Japan, we can go on all day for that. And they only had like Japanese on there. Now they have like these extra islands with weird tribes that don't look that Japanese and all this stuff. No, everybody in Japan was Japanese looking in the old times. Okay, so we've all had time. No, here we go. So the current reality is number 2. And I did, in fact, pick number 1 for Denmark. I don't remember anybody like this. It looks more like Britain. And I swear Britain has just got its little clutchy paws and everything in this timeline. But yeah, it used to be this. So I don't know if it's Britain influence or what. The timeline likes that look, but that has changed for me. Now let's see what you got. Anything to say about Locutus of Borg? Yeah, I'd rather know, no matter how scary and dark. Yeah, that is my film. I've kind of realized though that the Mandela, I think, is basically neutral to a large extent. I mean, there's some things are better, some things are worse, but it's how you look at it. You just have to choose. I mean, you can look at it that it's all creepy and I'm all by myself and nobody sees it, and or you can go, this means anything can change and there's a million possibilities and there's always hope, and it just, you could go either way with it. Maybe some people go back and forth between red pill and blue pill. I do think that people, I'm not sure on that. I don't know. So the one thing that confuses me is that people won't always, they'll both have a Mandela for that, but not the same Mandela. Like some people remember Arctica as a continent, some remember it as Arctica, and some I've heard are remembering it as Arctica. Some remember land, but not a continent. I think somebody was on here saying they remembered it being called a subcontinent. They don't all match, so like it should be download or no download then, right? It shouldn't be, I don't know. And there's a couple of others where people had like there's like three variations of the same Mandela. And then the flip-flops. And so I don't know. It just seems like maybe we really do come from some kind of different realities. We're not all from the same one. I do think, though, that you're more likely to get the download on stuff that scares you more. Like, I don't know, maybe if I'm going to forget my combination to my door, maybe I want the download. Maybe I did agree to get the download just so I could get in the house. Maybe I decided it was worth it to get that information downloaded in versus all the hassle. On the same time, I think people are more susceptible to the download for geography changes near their house. Maybe it's just too scary, it's too difficult, it's too creepy the closer to your house. So that's why I think fewer people see changes near their house, possibly. That's my theory anyway, or one of them. I saw one on Facebook. We now have a ghost bird. Like really ghost bird. All right, I don't have too much longer, but all right, let me just cover this one. I don't think you guys. So what I remember is this was all shiny stuff. Like he had shiny new equipment. This stuff like it's like an ancient artifact. I mean, they just clamped it on his face. It's brand new equipment. Why does it look like they dug it up from like the bottom of Egypt or something? It's all like patinaed and blackened, and this is not new equipment. This is not Borg technology. Borg technology is shiny new machinery. At least it's not how Borg technology used to look for me. Now, I have said before that Seven of Nines eye thing seemed to be darkening and getting more fancy and stuff. But even her tech looks even now, looks way newer than this old thing. That's crazy. It looks more like old steampunk stuff. So, and then here, okay, I don't remember it being this whole roundy thing. It's actually really cool. I think this one is a lot more cool than my old timeline, but it was more like squares off and there were less curvies. It wasn't all blackened and ancient. It didn't have this circular tubey thingy here. This is kind of awesome possum. I like it. I actually really like this one, but that is not at all how it looked. It was all shiny, techy, newy looking things. So I call baloney on the Borg tech. I actually kind of feel bad. I responded to Taro and I didn't mention that. I'm going to have to go back. All right, let me look at the ghost bird really quick here. Ghost bird. Okay, I think that's that. It looks worse and stupider every 5 minutes. That Patu thing or whatever that thing in. I think it's what in All right, we've had that thing on. I can't remember the name of it. Was it New Zealand? My God, look! It looks dumber than ever. It looks like a Muppet. I think it's gotten stupider looking. Is that a baby one or are they all that stupid? So before they looked stupid, but at least they had a beak. This thing almost looks like it just has feathers and no beak or something. Or the feathers stick to the beak? What the hell? Yeah. Is that a baby one? Ghost bird. All right. Let me see. Is that something different? What is that? Yeah, Patu was spotted by a woman who initially took it for wood. She came across the bird in Chibolo, Colombia. I thought that those were New Zealand birds, or has they got a different one? See, it doesn't really have a separate beak. All the fur goes right up, the feathers go right up onto the beak. That's why it's so weird. All right, so that's ghost bird. It looks like a Muppet. I think in UK that's a bad word, right? But I'm just talking about the Muppet Show. Or in the UK, it's like some kind of insult. I didn't really mean it like that. Ghost bird. But we've had Patu on before, but I don't remember it being... It was dumb and creepy, weird looking, but not that bad. I think it still had more of a separate beak that wasn't covered with fur at the time. All right, I think I'm about done. People's mentality has changed. Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking maybe it's just everything's coming out. You know, all of your inner stuff, all your dirt is out on the table. So things that you used to not do because it was frowned upon or unacceptable in society, you can do whatever you want now. You choose, okay? So now that you can do whatever you want, will you still choose to try to do the right thing and tell the truth and not steal? Will you still choose that? Or do you actually now, like, the lid is off the pot, you're going to boil over and just do whatever you want? So that the time of choosing is here. Do you want to try to be a good person? I mean, obviously we all have our flaws, but what direction are you heading for? Are you heading for being a good person? Are you trying to be a good person? Or are you just telling yourself you're being a good person, but you're really concentrating more on anger and hatred and revenge and darkness and those things? You know, which direction are you aiming for? Do you say you want to tell the truth, but then always have an excuse for lying? Or do you say you want to tell the truth and then try to actually tell it? So I think we're at the time of choosing now, you know, you choose your direction now. And it's easy now because the lid is off the pot. So you can do those bad things and there'll be a whole bunch of people saying, yeah, they deserved it. They were blah, 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 you know? Don't fall for that game. You know, that's why I picked Think Good Thoughts. Like, think good thoughts, everybody. It's time to go. I'm almost done. I'm pretty much done. So I'm heading out. But you know the drill. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Think good thoughts, everybody. This is Eva signing off for Once Upon a Timeline.